Hi,
Hi,
Mohammed. Good evening.
you can call me Noor. Noor will be good enough. So my first name is Noor.
Okay, okay. Hey, yeah, hi, Noor. Yep.
Hi.
So, myself, Santosh, and maybe I'm just sharing my screen and I will, walk you through the slides for the today's session.
Sure.
Yep.
Mhm.
Are you able to see my screen?
Yes, I can say it.
Okay, great. So, I'll just open my UFT demo shape PowerPoint.
Sure.
Noor, you must have heard already about UFT. What is UFT? How it is evolved from
Yeah.
QTP to this.
Sure. I think. What's your name again? I didn't see your name on here. What did you say your name?
My name is Santosh.
Santosh. So
Yes.
here's the thing. It's I will tell you a bit about myself. So I
Yes.
did work a years or more in automation, but
Okay.
however there was existing framework that I worked for. So I didn't learn much. So
Okay.
now I'm in a market. The contract has been done. So I have the basic idea. I need to have something high level concept that which is can be helpful, like BB scripting or more, and the framework type of kind of things. But if you're talking
Okay.
about the general, general session from the beginner, I'm not that beginner, but yeah, I wanted
Okay.
to know in details. Yeah. So hope this makes some kind of clarify for you.
Yes, yes, Noor. I think I got your point. You
Yeah.
mean to say you are kind of very much good at the beginning basics of UFT, and
Yes.
you are interested
Yeah.
more into advanced level of QTP, along with means something like
BB
advanced
scripting.
feature. They
Yes.
can be like actions or libraries, and then purely generic functions
Frameworking.
and
Yes,
all those.
that's correct.
Yep.
That's correct.
Frameworks and this thing.
Mhm.
Okay, so no, that is all right. Means we will means when we are into the sessions, we will definitely take care of that. And means for today's session, we will have like a demo so that we can understand better that how the sessions may carry. You can just guess by that.
Mhm.
And
Sure.
maybe I'll take a couple of one of the important topic like actions can be one of the feature that I can take for demo. Then that way that that might help you in UFT. Which version of UFT have you used before?
I use the 14.
UFT 14.01?
Yes, that's correct. I mean,
Okay,
my
okay,
my
that's fine.
project
Yep.
actually ended like I work for the one of the bank in US on here, so my project is ended like 1 week before, So I'm on a market. When you work on a project, you are a
Hmm.
very tiny little space that you're working on, right? So I used to work on
Right.
a trading, right? But when you come to
Okay.
the interview, you need to know a whole lot of thing which is out of the ordinary, right? You have to go back again and learn all those stuff, SQL and BB scripting and all this thing. You have to refresh your mind. So I hope you are getting my point, right? So
Yes, yes.
while working, you are not much required that sort of things, right? You are just
Right.
specifically focusing on your project or application that you have given to do a job, right? So this is
Yes.
where kind of I was like, I wanted to improve myself.
Okay. No, I can for now I can say means let me begin with the slide that I have got with me, and then
Yeah, sure,
we will have some 5 to 10 minutes of discussion. Like
sure,
I believe for you there should be some alteration in what our regular plan we have for a training. Means
sure.
we have a indent of training like we have these are all the topics that we cover for any beginner automation tester guy.
Sure,
But
of
for
course.
you, I'll have to kind of alter that with only specific topics, and that should really help you means for the further of advanced automation testing using UFT.
Got it.
Yeah, sure. So let me begin with, and I think there's a good information you have shared me about you. Yeah. So usually we cover this is like a initial one who is a beginner. We have drafted this course objectives. So like why automation testing, why UFT, and how to start with the UFT process, which you are already kind of okay. And
Yeah.
recording types, you must be aware there are 3 types of recording, and if there is something that you need on that, we can probably discuss. Otherwise, we can again skip this topic here. And
Sure.
means I'm just talking about the course objective, and then I'll take one of the sample, like any sample feature, and we'll have a discussion on that further for the demo.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And then we will also learn like how synchronization and verification points can be added in UFT. So synchronization points and verification points, it is like basically bringing the speed in sync with, a test tool and the application. Both should be in sync with the application pace, so that we don't lose application, or we don't be very fast by tool, something like that. So
Yeah.
we bring the same pace, both test tool and UAT application. And verifications is something, checkpoints that you must be aware, and means checkpoint which is provided by UFT is all good, but again upon that we have to use some customized checkpoints or our own validations. So how to put those validations we will discuss as part of this verifications. And then parameterization. So how do we do parameterization using UFT? We learn that. We also learn how we use Excel sheets, which you could be aware as of now. And we also learn how do we get completely an Excel sheet which is out of the project and not added into the UFT settings. And using some pure code, we can learn that. Means it will be like purely using by code you are accessing the Excel sheets. Have you used the relative experts sorry relative paths for your all the projects, or you
No,
use like hard paths?
I did not use that part.
Okay, so we will also learn how do we use the relative paths, means for all the
Mm.
resources of this automation suite. And and also we'll learn how we automate the Excels. And then we will learn about creating the modular actions. So modular actions means it is about QTP actions, UFT actions basically, and actions have many things again in it. Like how do we split the actions, how do we reuse the actions, and how actions interact each other, and also how do we pass the parameterization, iteration of actions, all these sort of things that we learn when when we will be discussing about the actions module, actions
Mm.
feature. And just
Yeah.
I'm curious on your previous framework which you worked on automation, was it
It's keyword driven.
using, okay, it was a keyword driven approach.
Keyword driven.
Okay, so that's fair. Then I think then you did not use much about modular actions. So I think
No,
we
I
can
didn't. That was
yeah,
completely data driven and keyword driven framework.
understand. Yep. So we will take up this one of the features that you would need actually while the session is going on, and we'll also learn about how the object repositories are. There are different kinds of object repositories. How do they really work? How object is means test tool interacts with the application in besides using this object repository, and what are different kinds of object repository that we can add. Many techniques are there while working with objects, so which property to add, which not to add, and that sort of information we can discuss when we are talking about object repositories.
Mhm.
Yeah, there are something like shared repository you must have used already, but again shared, how there are advanced level, like how do we merge different object repositories, how do we manage those, and all that thing will be there as part of this training. Yes. And you must have used debugging tools, which is there already. Debugging tool means feature in UFT, which helps you
It's
identifying
come
the
with the
problems
default,
in your
right?
script. Sorry.
Yeah, I mean, it used to come with the default with the HP tool, so it's integrated with that. I
Yes, yes,
mean,
yes.
since if you use the license version, right?
It is for both. It's both
Yeah.
license and trial. Debugging is just
Okay.
like you can run step by step flow, and you can also read the object values while execution.
Mhm.
Yep. In a normal mode, when you execute the test, you would not be able to see the specific values and its properties and all that while the execution is on. But using debugging tool, we can also do that. Means it allows you to literally see what are the values each variables are holding while the execution is on.
That's correct.
Yep. So this is what we will learn. If you are good at that, then we can probably just have a high level look on that. And let me go to next slide. And here we will also I'm putting like we will learn the checkpoints, verification points within a test using customizations. And I just talked about using the shared object repositories and how to manage those. And second thing, reports and analysis. So report means we are talking about the reporter dot report event object. So how
Yeah,
does it work and how we can utilize it. And then we also talk about what are different kinds of reporting results that we get it after execution of the tests. Yeah, which is I think familiar. You must be familiar of. And then regular expressions. So you have heard of regular expressions, right?
yeah, yeah, of course.
Yeah. So regular expressions can be by both ways. First is you can use the utility provided by UFT itself, wherein you have to provide kind of asterisk or some operation, some kind of operators by which it will be reading the objects with a dynamic, which are in dynamic nature. But
Yeah,
there is other way is you do your programming by using VB script or some advanced level by which you can also deal with the objects which are in dynamic nature, and you don't have to use the regular utility provided by UFT.
mhm,
Yeah, many features in UFT are like they are very good for usage. But if let's say you are an advanced level of a UFT guy who is professional, so there means we don't feel like they are really more effective when I do my direct scripting or direct coding.
that's
It is
correct.
similar. Yeah, regular expression is very similar. You can directly deal these things inside the code itself when you describe the objects or scripts.
Yeah.
Yep. And we also discuss on resolving the recognition of the recognition problem of the objects. So it means what happens is there are means we see a lot of people come up with problems saying that my object is not being identified. I am unable to read the object, not getting the properties and values, and don't know how to deal with that. So there are many problems that people feel. So I think we can also take some of the different kinds of objects as sample, and we can discuss on that so that we get more understanding on how do we get through the problems of identifications, object identifications using UFT tool or maybe some other tool, means whichever concept actually.
Mhm.
And have you got a chance to work on the virtual objects and object description?
Not on object description, but on a virtual object, yes.
Okay, so object description is means very similar to descriptive programming. In fact, it is like we describe the object with some coding techniques, and there where we give all the description of whatever we want the object to be operated on, all the details, and then we perform the operations. So it is like a descriptive programming that we normally talk about. So we also discuss that when we are into the sessions.
Mhm.
Yes, and you have you used Quality Center so far using UFT or how is it?
ALM,
ALM.
yes, we use the ALM, yeah.
Yes, so ALM provides you the means like this thing feature like you would be able to schedule it. You would be able to launch the test from there, and you will have lots of suites, and you can just keep
Yes,
running that into different machines. So
that's
that is a
correct.
provision there. So I think that is means the integration is very user friendly, already provided by HP. Just you have to enable
Yes,
on the UFT side that okay, I want to this tool to be used by HP, then it should be fine. All the HP ALM and all.
yeah.
Yeah. So these are the usual regular objectives that we do for any new student that we get to train. And usually
Mhm.
what we do is we test on the flight application, sample flight application. So I have just put
Mhm.
this that will be mostly dealing with this application, and if there are out of this application, we will also take a couple of samples and we'll do that. Yeah,
Yeah, got it.
right. And you also must have had a look on the feature list provided by Jilaniji. So I think if means from that list we will cover most of the topics which you are kind of new to, and we also cover the advanced level topics of that, and the basic level we will ignore from there. And
Mhm.
I can draft that sort of index for you, and we will discuss for that when we are into the sessions. Okay.
Okay.
Yep. So this is done for me so far with the slides, and I'll just take you to the UFT for a quick demo for that. Let me just close this and open once again a new fresh UFT tool. Whenever we give the training, we give it on a trial version only of UFT.
I have installed it. I have
Yes.
60 days installed.
Okay, great. You mean the licensed version is on there on your machine, is it?
No, no, it's not. It's a free one, but I can make it for 60 days. So I just whenever it's got
Yeah,
expire, I install it and install it. Yeah.
yeah, perfect. Yeah. So means right now the application, like sample application, is been developed into the WPF technology, which was earlier like a Windows technology we used.
Yeah.
So this is the add-in we have to provide before I start for the test. Okay, I have selected my add-in, and then I'll go with the tool. Okay. So normally this is my UFT tool. I'm just going to make a new test, and I'll make a new test on some folder which I'm selecting for the new test, and I'll say okay. So when I open UFT, we look like this at the initial level. So this is like a UI look of your scripts, like a GUI look of your scripts, and then we will be seeing at the left hand side the solution explorer, on which we see if there are any actions got added by default. And at present we see only default action one is present in the scripts.
It's true.
Yep. And usually if we keep on playing with several actions, we will be having look of the all the actions over here. So let us say this is my action, and if I want to go to this action, so at present I do not have any of the scripts into it. And even if I go to object repository in the resources, I will not have any objects at present. So, so let's say means this is a flight application, I understand, and then I have to launch the application first. I can break down into different actions, the same flow, and I'll use some user ID password for flight. And this is like having a search criteria. I'll provide a search criteria. I'll make one action for search criteria particularly, and then perform search. I'm just walking you through the flow that I will automate using the actions. And then at the end of this thing, I'll just close the application. So I will do this using different actions. So how to do that? So very first what I have to do is I should come back to my default look, GUI look of your test, and then say right click over here and say call a new action. So it means I'm going to define a new action of my own, and I don't want to use the existing action one. Okay, so that time I have to just say right click on the GUI look and right click and just say call new action. Then I will be navigated to this wizard, in which I have to give a logical name of your script that you want to perform by this action. Then you have to just say login, or let me just say launch and login flight app. This is a name I'm giving to the action. This action performs. This is a description about your action, and which I can write it briefly what it does. Performs launching of flight app, and then perform login. And whenever I create a new action, by default the action says that it is by default reusable action. And if reusable action, in the sense this action is allowed to be called by another action. Okay, inside another
Yeah.
script we can call this action basically. So this is a like a permission given by this script. So by default it is all the actions are reusable,
Yes.
but in case we don't want it to be called by others, then we can keep it not reusable. But we prefer using all the actions, almost every action, to be reusable. Yep. And this talks about whether you want it at current step, after the current step, or at the end of the step. Means wherever we are calling this
Yes.
action, it is basically referring to the existing structure. You want it to be at the last or initial or wherever it is. So I'll just select at the end, call my this new action, and this is anyway an empty action. I can see it is after action one. So now I can see both the actions are empty basically. And action one is a default one, which probably I don't need it. And then what I'll do is I'll just come back to this place and I'll remove the action one. So I can perform the removal of actions like this, delete the action. So that is fine for me. Then I can see there is a like start, launch the flight application, and then end. Then just save it, make a save. Navigate to this action. Let's see what the code look like. At present, anyway, there is nothing, so that's fine. So now I'll just make a normal recording of the application. I'll select the application from this utility of default opened by UFT. Say okay. Yes, great. So I have performed a login already to this. If I need to add further checkpoints after this login, I can do that. But at present, I am not getting into checkpoints. So I just come back that I have already defined what is my action, and this action I'm not using. Means when I have added the action, I have seen that there is a data table sheet having a specific to the action. So whenever I create an action, I have a sheet created by default respective to the action data sheet.
Right.
Yep, and all the data which is present inside the action data sheet is accessible only to that action. If any other action other than global trying to I mean any of the action which is trying to access this action data, then it will not allow do that. Have you got my point? Means you tried ever this case?
Yes.
Okay, yep. So
Yeah,
I
yeah.
have created one
I got it.
yep.
I mean,
Yep.
can
Yes, Noor, can you please come again?
yeah, I got it.
Yep.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah.
Hello. Yep. So I'm going to know, and once I have created this action, if I just have a look on my object repository, I will see
Mhm.
the objects got added here. And you know that these objects can be given a proper logical naming conventions, and that is
Yes.
fine for me. Yep. Now what I'll do is I'll go back to my main script, and again I will call one more new action saying that it will perform some operation called search and make make a new order. Let's say I'm just doing both the operations, search for flight and make a new order. So I'm writing a description about this, my new action, and I'll just make it okay. So now I will see login and launch and login is one action for me here, and another is search and make an order. So basically, when we are in real-time test, we do not have a combination like this, but I have just split it in two actions basically, the whole flow. And if I see search and make an order, this is a new action that I have added. If in case my functionality allows, I can also switch back the action execution sequence.
Mhm.
So this is the execution sequence which normally takes from top to bottom approach when I run the test. But if it is allowed on the application side, I can also switch it like this, and we can keep running it. Means the sequence can be derived dynamically
Yeah.
of the action execution. Yep. So, but anyway, this flow for my flight application, for at least it will not work this way functionally.
Mhm.
So I'm okay with this. I'll just go to the new action, which is search for flight on this. Anyway, I'm on this place right now. I'll just record here, and I will select some from city, and then to city, let's say SF, and then select probably a class of journey, and then find the flight. Select one of the flight list available. and I have already got my flight selected. I have to enter the user, let's say Noor, and then say make an order. So the 120th order got completed, and then this is fine for me. I'll stop here, or I want to close the application. That's fair. So this is my new action, and which is already recorded. And if I go back to my repository, now you see. So this is having all the objects that I have recorded for this script are present here. But if I just try to find where is my login, the login window objects, then
Mhm.
I will not see that. Yep. Yeah, because all the login objects are stored into another action, and that action is launch and login flight application. And
Correct.
the one that we are into right now is search and make a new order. So I will see specific to that object repository, specific to that action, all the objects into this. Yeah. So this is about object repositories. Means the overall I'm saying is here when you have different actions, data sheet is dedicated to the action, and also the object repository is dedicated to the action.
Yeah.
Yes, and if there is some script which try to use data or the object from the another action, then it will not allow you do that because usually they are private to each other.
Yeah.
Yes. So this is about like I have created two different actions. Both of them are reusable to me. If I want to run here right away on this script, I have to just check if the order is proper or not. If it is so, then it will allow you executing the test. Just go back and run the test. It allows you for that. Sorry. And this is a normal flow. Let's say the same actions I would like to same script actions I like to call it into different a different script, then probably I'll follow that approach. Now I'll go back to new script altogether, and this is like, so this is my new test. Usually we call it
Yeah.
like master test or like main script, and I'm creating it demo UFT underscore 2, and then make it okay. Now again here I have a default action which probably is empty anyway, and then I want to call the new action. Sorry, once I come back here to this, I probably don't want to call the new action. I just want to call existing action.
Hold.
So what I have to do is, so inside my action one, if I try to call an existing action, then okay, sorry, I'll go to my action and then say call an existing action. So there are different kinds of calling to the actions basically. So calling a
Yeah.
new action means again it will be altogether new action. I can define it. Otherwise, I can copy from another action. So this basically copies the content of the script from another reusable action to my current script. It only copies the script, nothing more than that. Maybe I don't want it at present. This case, I want to do like call an existing action which is already developed in another script. I'll just go there, and I have to also give the path, means I have to select the script which one to be called now. So I can either select by this path, or if I can see already there is a list present visible here, then I can use that. Usually we see the most recent scripts that we have developed for this list here. And if once I have selected my script for the reusable actions, I will see there are two different actions defined under the test, and they are like launch the application and then search and make an order. So I can select one of the actions there. I can either keep it at the current step or at the after the current step is fine. Okay. So I have called another action inside my main action. And if you see now on the solution explorer side, I am seeing there is something called action one, which is default to this script, and then called like an external action. Means these are all list of external actions, and I can see launch and login flight application is an external action for us, which is coming from another script. Again, I will try to
Yes.
call one more existing action, and then I'll just go to the same probably demo UFT, and then it is search and make order. I'm anyway calling both of them, and if once I select that, I will also see what is brief description of the action, what it is doing, this search and make order. Uh, this is all right. Now, if I just go, see this, this is all right. But if I go to my main script and try to see if I have added any objects to that, then probably specific to this script, I don't have any object. That is the reason you see you cannot edit or something. But if I have added my own objects here, I will see they are in editable mode, all the objects.
Yeah.
Yep. So because these are from the external sheets, external actions, so I will not be able to perform any action on this. But it is fine for me. And also, if I go and see on the data tables, I will see the data table from the other actions. At present, I have no data on that, but if I have data also, I'll be able to see that. And let us say there is let us say this external action sheets contain some data which is on their global. Those all data will come and sit at this global. Means
Okay.
whenever we call another action, the data present in the global sheet of that action will be sitting into my current calling action into the global sheet.
Yeah.
Yep, that's fine then, I think. And then if I just make a save and I can run the test, and I'll see the results will be okay. So the launching the application is now not part of this script, because this launching the application, we have done a configuration for that script which is launched by UFT. So here I'll launch it by myself manually. That is fine. I think it did not find the element. I'm delayed to select open the application. I'll just get back and run the application again by opening manually this script, run the test, and then verify that the parent properties match with the objects currently selected. Okay, so it is saying that the properties of the parent script and the new script that you are calling it into are not matching. So the strip object application have to change, maintain the run mode. That's fine. I don't want to update any of my script. I just want to bring both of them in the same line, let's say. So I can also do like this, that maybe in my main action only, I'll just try this. This is the place where I'm calling those actions. So I will not alter
Yeah.
that. I'll write a script like which is specific to this current action, and I will just launch my application. So this one you must be aware. I'm just using system util operator.
Yeah, that's correct.
Yeah. And I will run this. Basically, what I have done is these two actions are called inside my action one. That is fair. And then the launching of the application, I'm doing it manually here by the script, by my script. Let me just run this again. It will give the conflict of having two different configurations for tests. Bit okay. So it's working fine because this was open application. So this is how we can reuse the actions that are created in different scripts. So this is a regular approach that we follow when we follow the action driven frameworks using UFT.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. And if I go back and see the results of these actions, I will be able to see the results respective to the actions performed. So if I go detailed into the scripts, so this is specific to my main action, that is fine. But if these two you see, they are from different scripts, and those scripts are from demo UFT, demo UFT. Yeah.
Yes.
And these are the actions which are called from another action. So you are saying this, and by default our action was action one. Again, this can be renamed to your logical, this thing, naming.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this is all we can have a Noor for now for this today's demo session, and I hope this
Mhm.
is you found it is kind of comfortable, and it's now if you have any questions on this so far, you can just ask me.
No, I mean, this is very basic. I mean, I mean, well aware of this, right? So, as I said
Okay.
earlier, right, I'm looking something high level of that, which is, I mean, to wanted to boost my, confidence while writing, like, upper skill of that. I mean, as I said, right,
Okay.
I work, more than a year in UFT, and so this is kind of basic. So I don't know what you can teach me something like, something upgraded or something advanced level. That is what I'm actually looking into, to be honest.
Yep.
That's
So
what I
right
mean.
now, yeah, I got your point. Means as I said, like means we can discuss on that. If you
Yeah.
have seen this all list of all the features that we usually train. So what we can do is when we are into the training sessions, we can skip whichever are the major ones and whichever you need. I think definitely you will find all of them into this list. And if you have anything out of that, you can propose to us, and we can plan for as part of this training. So regular
Yeah,
expansion is one of the
I
advanced
saw
one.
it. Yeah,
Yes, please.
yeah. So I mean, if you go down, little more down, little down.
API programming.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, from here, maybe some of the things that I wanted to know, but the most of the things that I wanted to know, more about the BB scripting, like actual function to be created on a dynamic descripting programming instead of go for a drag and drop and recording, because nowadays nobody is used actually on here. Everybody looks on a high level code, where is custom function will be in a place. So that is what I'm looking into. I saw, because this is what is makes me impressed, right? On a bottom, what you have, I wanted to have a more more, sorry, more knowledge about it too. So whatever I have, I can improve onto it, right? So I think on the top of the whatever it shows, that will not be required for me,
Okay.
but I'll be definitely I will be needed, something more, high level coding perspective.
Yeah, you are basically talking about advanced level of your UFT.
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
and on that you are talking something like using the different kinds of frameworks and how to derive the functions using UVB scripts and all that. So
Yeah,
yeah, when we say advanced level of UVB script or even UFT, we have got a lot of things there. So means we can play with Excels of creating our own objects and all that. We can play with automation object models. Like there are many objects in UFT, and we can derive all of them by our own. And
yeah.
also when you work with ALM, we have our own different objects list, and we can directly work on that. Means we can deal on that. So they are all like advanced level topics. If we want to go with that, we can do it. But right now for this session, we have only planned for this like for now. But yes, if we say working with those all those advanced level topics, we can probably consider adding it into this place here. So
Mhm.
this one, like we wanted to a demo saying that we would be able to cover these topics as part of that. But if you really want only the advanced level, we have to draft the complete training index for you and then share it again.
Yeah, that's what actually I will be looking forward,
And
to be
also
honest.
when we talk about the frameworks, means whenever we say framework, framework is like something that evolves with the time. Means as per the needs, it keep on adding the factors to that, and eventually we say
Yeah.
this framework fits for our application. So any
Mm-hmm.
model that I speak today would be more on a generic, which is not specific to
Yeah.
any project, but
Yeah.
eventually that becomes a framework when you start really using it into the application, into the project.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So for us,
Yeah.
we can what is a modularity framework. We can speak how do we implement that to from the scratch level. That sort of information we can share. And when you have some questions on that, we can discuss further on that basically.
Mhm.
So that's how we can do. Or you can come up with the list that you want to specifically learn on that. So we can get back by that. Means while we are into the trainings.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. So means this what we thought. Noor for the session demo for today.
Okay. Sure then.
Yep. Okay. Yep.
So I will let you know then.
Yep. Sure.
Soon.
Yep.
Sure. Afterwards.
Yep. Thank you so much.
Uh, okay, Noor,
Sure.
thanks
Thank
for
you.
your time. Okay, Santosh, thanks for your time. I'll
Yep.
talk to Noor offline and I'll update you the status by tomorrow. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay. Okay, guys. Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you so much. Thanks for your time.
Yeah.